Hi, YouTube family and friends. It's Miss Margaret here again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you joining me again on my channel. Like I've said before, please like, share, subscribe. Don't just be viewing, okay? I thank you very much for your support. Okay, so my topic today is single motherhood. And I would just like to share some of my experiences being a single mother in this huge city of Toronto, Canada. Single motherhood is not something that I chose, but I ended up in that situation. Like I mentioned before, I have 3 children and 1 grandson. I have 2 daughters and a son and a little grandson. I love my children. I love my little grandson. But over the years, me raising 3 children was not easy. There are so many ups and downs. There are so many positives and negatives. There are so many valley situations. There are so many mountaintop situations. I can go on and on and on. But I want to speak specifically to single parents. Whether you're a single mother, whether you're a single dad, I just want to share some little nuggets that maybe you can apply to your situation to make it a little easier to navigate this situation. I was married, and then my husband, he left. The last time I saw him, I was pregnant with my last daughter, and that was the end of it. I tried my best at different points in time because I always wanted my children to have a relationship with their father. And I tried too many times. And the last time I tried, I should back up here. When I was turning 30 years old, I was in a relationship with a young man. I got pregnant, and that is when I had my first child, my older daughter, in which that individual, he was not happy about that. And the first thing he told me, you better get rid of this. I choose not to. Because at the end of the day, this is my body and my decision to make. So, over the course of time, that relationship ended. And that was when I started my single motherhood. My eldest child is in her 40s. Okay? So I just want you to see how long I've been doing this and running this race of single motherhood. I think it was like about 10 years after I met the man that I got married to. And I had two other children. I had my son and then my younger daughter. So now I'm a single mother with 3 children. I was still working. No, first of all, when I had my older daughter, by this time I changed careers again. And I was working in the banking industry. And I worked in the banking industry for over 10 years. Me and my daughter, we live together. I try my best to do my best towards her. She was the only child for 10 years. And I tried. Unfortunately, you see, when you bring children in this world, you don't get a handbook, an instructions manual. That's what I mean. You can go and buy any electrical equipment or appliances, or even to put together a table or put together a chair. There's an instruction manual. Unfortunately, there's no instruction manual when you bring children into this world. You better learn how to figure it out. And especially if you do not have immediate family members around you to give you a helping hand, to give you a little idea, to give you a little suggestion. I was living in this country away from my parents, away from siblings. Well, I had 2 siblings living in this country, but they had their own lives. They had their own children to see about. And nobody was dropping what they were doing to come and give me a hand. I made friends with people. A lot of my colleagues, some of them were working with me in the bank. They reached out to me in love and kindness and empathy. I had some other colleagues I met. Living in that apartment building. We just had tenants living in the apartment building. One of them was a friend. Him and his wife was a friend to one of my cousins. And they had 2 daughters, and they would the odd time come and babysit and help me. I had to hire a babysitter at that time in the building. And this I'm talking about in the 80s. Because I still have to work and take care of my daughter. I wasn't getting any child support then. I still had to have child care for my daughter. And in those days, you would think working in the bank, it was, oh, this glorious job that it is now, and you're making these fat salaries and this and that. I did not start as a teller in the bank because I still had those skills, those secretarial skills. And so I started in the bank as the secretary to the manager. Yes, it sounds like a big job, but I was just the assistant administration person. Doing all the typing and all the answering the phone. And throughout the years, I was trained how to open bank accounts, how to close bank accounts, how to do this and do that and all this stuff. That's what I was doing. I think in the 80s, you know what my income was? I think like about 22,000 a year, if not less. But in those days, you could manage on a salary like that. The cost of living wasn't that high, and your couple dollars could stretch a mighty long way. And so that was what I was doing. I continued working and taking care of my daughter. At the other time, I had to ask a family member to help me. This was before I found a babysitter in my building, and my daughter was 3 months old baby. And so I asked a family member to please help me to watch my daughter, because in those days they allow you 3 months maternity leave and you get paid, but after 3 months you have to return back to work. And so I'm saying, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. So I called this family member and I asked her if she could at least help me for a couple of months until I find a babysitter in my building. She said, yeah, okay. Because at this time, her children, they were older. Now I want you to listen to this. This is a family member that has 7 children, which I took care of. I just want you to listen to this. So I'm going to leave that right there. So she said yes, she's gonna take it. I try my best. When I get paid, I bring some money. I used to come up like every weekend, sometime every other weekend, depending on if I have enough money to pay the bus fare, because I'm traveling like 2 hours out of the city on the Greyhound bus. I know they are no longer in existence anymore, but that is the bus I used to take to go there to visit my daughter. I would buy everything my daughter needed, from diapers to her formulas to baby food, everything that she needed. And still pay that family member money to help take care of my child. And one Saturday, I showed up. And my family member was kind of surprised that I showed up, because I did not call to say, I was coming, I just showed up. And every time I show up, I'm coming with, food items, I'm coming with money, because I'm saying I have to do something, and help. And so she says, oh, your daughter is sleeping upstairs in the crib and this and that. And I go up and I'm looking at my child and she's sleeping. Her little nightgown, her little diaper, even the bed sheet that covered the mattress in the little crib was soaked in urine. I could have taken up the little nightgown that my daughter was wearing and the diaper, and I could wring it out. I could wring the urine out. I could wring the urine out of the little crib bed sheet. And so at the same time, my baby, she woke up and she has a nasty cough. And her nose is so congested and so stuck up with like mucus. I just felt like crying. I just felt like crying. And I start quickly taking off all these urine soaked clothes off of her little undershirt, her little nightgown, her little socks soaked in urine. And I say, wow, wow, wow. And right there and then, I said, I'm not leaving my child here, not another hour, nor minute, nor day. I'm taking her back to Toronto with me. And so that was when I went and I started to clean her, wash her, try to clean the mucus out of her nose. She could hardly breathe. And after I left, I'm going to go back and tell you the other incident. After I left and I came back with my child to Toronto, I am thinking, how long was my child in this condition? Was it the whole day and the whole night? But I did not want to get upset, and I just left it alone. And so after I finished washing her and I come downstairs and thing, my family member looked at me and said, you know something? I really don't have patience anymore taking care of little babies. Did you hear that? You're saying this to somebody who helped take care of your 7 children. From infants all the way up to teenager. And that is what you're saying. I only ask you to help me with a 3-month-old baby until I could find a babysitter. And I knew it wasn't going to take long because I saw somebody had an ad in the building on the information board that they're a babysitter and they take like from about 3 months old and up to school age children to watch them. But I was trying to contact the person to see if they had any more space available. And so when my family member said that to me, I didn't even respond. I just looked at her and I said, okay. I didn't get into no argument. I didn't say, but I take care of your 7 children. And I never left them in that condition. I didn't say a word. I know I was taking my child with me when I was leaving the very next day, which was the Sunday. And that's exactly what I did. And I packed. I did her little laundry. And I pack her back. I pack all her belongings. I called a taxi. And we went to the bus terminal. And I and my daughter was on the bus back to Toronto. And I decided then I'm going to take a little leave of absence from my job at the bank until I find a babysitter. And I had very good relationship with my supervisor and with the manager, and they told me, that's okay, Margaret, you take your time. What we're gonna do, we're gonna call the pool. Now the pool is our head office. They have part-time staff that works there. And we're gonna get one of the part-time staff to come and fill in for you until you get everything done and you get arrangements made for your daughter. And I said, okay, thank you. And they were still paying me because I was full-time staff at the bank. And so that was what I had to do. And I did call the babysitter, and she had a free space. I asked her, so what is the rate? And it fall right within my budget. And so I carried my daughter, but first I had to take my child to her pediatrician because this cough and this congestion wasn't going. And so I took her to her pediatrician, and of course he had to put her on antibiotic because he said, no, it's a chest infection she has, and like sinus infection, and all this kind of stuff. From my child being left soaking wet in urine for hours. For hours. I did not fight or argue with anybody. That is when it dawned on me that you brought this child into the world and you better take care of her. Don't depend on no family. Don't depend on no friend. It's your responsibility. And I took that as a wake-up call. I took it as a wake-up call. And so when I waited a couple of days until my daughter was better and she felt good and the coughing stopped, the wheezing stopped, the congestion went away because of the medication the doctor gave me to help her, and the babysitter took her and says, okay, Margaret, don't worry, because she had, I think, 2 other babies she was taking care of. And so my daughter was she had 1 other baby, and she had a toddler, and she had 2 school-age children, because at that time the law only allow you if you have a daycare center in your home, you're only allowed to see about 5 children, and it can be all different ages. And her husband was there, and he was helping her, and even though he was working full-time, but she was a qualified ECE, so she had the license to work out of her home, and she was a godsend to me. Beautiful, kind, loving young lady. She didn't have any children. She told me, my children are my 2 cats. But I hope to have kids one day. I said, don't worry, God is going to bless you with kids, honey. You don't worry. And she took care of my daughter until my daughter reached the age to go to daycare center. Because at the daycare center now, they had their age stipulation again because they're following the law. And so my daughter had to be, I think, a year old. I think so. And she had to be walking and all this kind of stuff. So then they would put her in the infant room. And so that was what I did. So after that, I kept going on with life, doing what I need to do, to take care of my child. If I have to go out, I have to go grocery shopping. It was the two of us. Winter time, I have to take a taxi to go drop her off at daycare because it's too cold out. I have to take a taxi to go grocery shopping, put her in the cart. We do what we had to do. If it was too cold, I used to go down the hallway and ask my cousin friend, his wife and his two daughters, if they don't mind watching her. And they had loved her so much, they would watch her until I go do my little shopping and come back. And this was what I did. Being a single parent is no bed of roses, especially if you do not have support. Okay? Now I'm fast forwarding to 10 years later. Now my daughter is 10. And I met this young man who was madly in love with me. Looking back now, I think it was just lust and not love. But when you're young and you tell yourself, oh, you need a man in your life, you need somebody to help you, you need to get married, you need this, you need that, without thinking that maybe it might cost you something. So that was what I did. I got married. And then all the red flags started to come out. And in my head I'm thinking, why on earth did I do this? Why did I do this? But you keep going. You keep thinking, oh, well, things will change. Blah, blah, blah. By this time now, I'm 40 years old. Right? 39 going to 40. And I got pregnant with my son. This is after my then so-called husband said to me, I'm too old to have any more children. He had 2 children prior to us meeting, but they were back home in the Caribbean, where his mother was taking care of them. And they were older, they were teenagers. So anyway, here I go again with prayer. Even before I knew I was pregnant, I sat down and I prayed and I said, God, give me a son. I want a son. I already have a daughter, and I want a son. As simple as that. And God heard and answered my prayer. and he's the middle child. One of these days, you viewers, you're gonna get to meet my children. And my grandson, if I could convince them to just come and say, "Hi, YouTube family and friends. Thanks for supporting my mom." So one of them is looking at me and shaking her head. So anyway, let's get back to the storytelling. So I had my son, and he was almost a year, when no, he wasn't a year yet. He was like 9 months old when I decided to meet up with my husband again. By this time, he had left this country and went back to his country. And I'm still trying to say, maybe we can make this thing work. Let me travel, take a little vacation, me and my daughter. And by this time, I had the little baby. And he was like about 9 months old. And we traveled and we went to his country, and I spent a month there. And like everything else, he was still my husband at that time. And I got pregnant. I did not know I was pregnant. But after the vacation ended, I came back to Canada with my daughter and my little son. By this time now, he was like about 10 months old. And when I came back, I realized I was pregnant. And that was the last time I saw my husband. He couldn't come to Canada because of a whole heap of legal business, which I didn't know of. But here you go. The lies, the lies, the lies. And so that was the last time I saw him. 9 months after, I gave birth to my youngest daughter. Now, I'm a single mother of 3 children. I had to quit my job. Couldn't afford to pay for childcare. Ain't no family coming to my aid. By this time now, I'm an outcast. I tell myself, come hell or high water, I'm gonna hang in there. And I'm gonna try. I might not be able to give my children them the best of what they deserve, but I'm not gonna walk away. I said, because 2 men, 2 fathers walked away and left me with them. And I'm gonna try and do my best. I'm going to try and do my best. The father of my older daughter, I think, because I'm backing up my story here right now, I think she was 5 or 6 when I decided I'm going to take him to court to get support for her. And that was a whole other big story. The lies, the lies, the lies again. Oh, she's not his child. Oh, she's not this. Oh, I have other man. So my lawyer, I thank God for my lawyer. May his soul rest in perfect peace, because he's no longer with us. And he said to me, okay, let's do a DNA test. You saying, this is not your child, and you don't have anything to hide, right? So let's do a DNA test. And my lawyer set up the appointment for me and my daughter to come to the clinic. And her father, he refused to do a DNA test. Told his lawyer to tell my lawyer he's not. So then my lawyer said, but then that's against the law. If he has nothing to hide, why wouldn't you do a DNA test? Because you're claiming that that is not your child. So then that's inference. So then I guess his lawyer convinced him to come and do the DNA test, which he did. And so when the test came back, my lawyer called me and he said, Margaret, I got the test back. I said, oh, really? He says, yes. And it was 99.9% that he is the father of your daughter. And I just started laughing. I said, no, Mr. So-and-so. The DNA test is incorrect. It should be 100%. So then my lawyer started laughing. He said, Margaret, you're too much. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know. So now we have a case and we're going to be proceeding to family court. And I said, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I'm going to tell you what date your case is coming up, so we can meet there. I said, okay, no problem. And so said, so done. We came to court. And this is another thing that threw me for a loop. My lawyer presented all the documents, all the DNA tests. He presented my daughter's baptismal certificate with his name on it. Because when I baptized her, his name was on it as father, my name as mother, her godparents' name on the baptismal certificate, and every other information that I had, I give to my lawyer. And he presented everything to the judge. And the judge was just reading through everything. He said, okay, all right. So and so and so and so and so. Great, good. The father of my daughter and his lawyer standing to the left. Me and my lawyer standing to the right. And the judge is sitting behind his desk in between us. And the judge looked at me and said, so how much money do you want a month as child support for your daughter? The judge never looked at him, nor his lawyer. And then his lawyer all of a sudden started to speak up. And oh, judge this and oh, judge that. The judge says, excuse me, could you be quiet? I will get to you in a minute. And the judge asked me again, so how much child support money do you want for your daughter? I was so flabbergasted. I didn't even know what to say. And out of my mouth came up, oh, well, okay, judge, maybe $300 a month and this and that. That was when I see my lawyer, he cringed. But he couldn't say anything. The judge was talking to me. He wasn't talking to my lawyer. He wasn't talking to the father, my daughter, or his lawyer. He spoke to me directly. Because I was the one who was looking for child support for my daughter. He said, okay, bang, 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 this is done. So, Mr. So-and-so, you will go back and pay all this back child support money, which was thousands of dollars. Because from this child was born, she's now 5, going on 6, you never paid anything. And that was what the judge did. He said this case is closed, it's dismissed or whatever. So his lawyer now is still trying to speak to the judge. And the judge says, no. The judge just got up and left the courtroom. I said, wow. Wow. So my lawyer started whispering to me. He said, Margaret, why did you only ask for $300? He said, you should have asked for like about $1,000 or more to take care of your child. I said, but Mr. So-and-so, he, from his previous marriage, have 2 kids he's taking care of. And I didn't really want to, ask for no big sum of money where he's left without no money left at the end of the month to pay his bills and all that. He said, Margaret, do you know how much money he works for? I said, no, I don't know. He said, you want me to tell you? I said, please. Now I'm getting upset with him because I'm saying, why didn't you share this with me before? You're now sharing this with me. He said that man works for over $60-something thousand a year. Close to $70,000 a year. Because he was a big supervisor with the electric company here. The hydro company here in the city of Toronto. My mouth just dropped open. I say, what? But it's like I said to you, the lies. He used to lie to me about how much money he makes until it came out that day in the courtroom. I said, well, Mr. So-and-so, I'm talking to my lawyer. I said, there is nothing else we can do right now. He said, yeah. He said, but there's one good thing. He has to pay you all that back support money, so maybe that might help you. I said, it is what it is. And so my lawyer said, come, where you going? I'm going to give you a ride. I said, just give me a ride to the subway station so I can take. When I got out in the hallway, me and my lawyer, I did not know he was still waiting there because he wants to curse me out. He wanted to curse me out, which he did in front of my lawyer. And my lawyer responded to him. I did not say a word. Nasty curse words coming out of his mouth. How I'm a this, how I'm a that, and the F word and the W word. I couldn't even. I'm saying, but wait. You're Mr. Goody Two Shoes. You're Mr. Educated. You're Mr. Perfect. And these are the words coming out of your mouth. and keep walking behind me and my lawyer along this long hallway in the courthouse and cursing me, cursing me. Wouldn't stop people looking at him in his loud voice, cursing me, cursing me. And I just kept walking, me and my lawyer. And my lawyer turned to him and said, I don't know why you're cursing this woman. You see all the child support that the judge just asked you to pay? It's a tax write-off for you. All you have to do is declare it on your income tax. And more or less you get your money back. So why are you cursing her? She has to take care of your child that you refuse to take care of. And my lawyer said, Margaret, come, let's go. Leave this ignorance. I can't use the word we use. Let's go. And that was a day. And I just went in my lawyer's car, and he said, come, okay, I'll drop you off at the subway, whichever subway you want to go on, so on and so forth. And that was what I went through. My older daughter, father. Fast forward 10 years now. Met my husband, got married, have the 2 children for him. And then it was another story. A whole nother kettle of fish to take care of. A whole nother kettle of fish. But I'm going to say this to single mothers and single fathers, if you're listening to me. Do your best by your child or your children. Life is not going to be easy. If you have family and friends who are willing to help you and to support you, if you have a church family, there are different programs where you can tap into. If you need counseling, whatever help you need, there are different programs that is out there that is willing and able. Some of them are free. You just have to do your homework. But there is help for you and there is hope for you. Do not give up. It's not the end of the world. You do not have to throw your children in no system or give them up for adoption. Stay in the fight. Stay in the game. Speak to your children. Encourage them. If they're in school, there are school counselors that can counsel them. Do whatever little you can do as a mother. Yes, it's going to be stressful. Yes, there's going to be days that you might say to yourself, I really can't do this anymore. Been there, done that. There was one point when I just felt like just walking out and leaving my children and sleeping in a bed, in a shelter. But I couldn't. I got totally dressed and everything. I turned around and I looked at them and I couldn't. I just started to cry. Because I tell myself, I can't even take care of them. We end up homeless. We're living in a roach motel. But that's going to be another video. And where I was walking to go, I was walking to go to end my life. You hear what I'm saying? Are you listening to what I'm saying? Don't go there. That was one of the darkest times for me. The darkest time for me. But I still had hope and faith in the God that I serve. I still had hope that, you know something, this too shall pass. And tomorrow is another day. Another day. Nobody tell you what it takes. No one to raise children on your own. I've seen women, when the pressure get on them, when they end up in the court system, where the father want to fight them for these children. Not that they're going to take care of the children, but because of hate. They hate the mother so much, and they want to hurt her. You want to really hurt a woman? Take her children away. And some men, that's what they do. A woman carry a child for 9 months in her stomach. She's one with that child. And then you just want to rip it away from her. Just want to rip that child away from her. It's not right. Not right. Yes, some mothers, they walk away and left their children with the father. I do not know their situation. I do not know the circumstances. So I can't really judge any mother or any father who think that that's the best thing to do. I do not know their experiences. I can only speak of mine. I can only tell you what I've been through in my life. But mothers and fathers, remember, your children, they're growing, and they're going to get old. They're not going to remain babies anymore. And all your job is to try your best. Sometimes your best is not good enough, but you have to work with what you have to help take care of them. In some situations, it's easy for a man to walk away, and hard for a woman to walk away. In some situations, it's easy for a woman to walk away, and hard for a man to walk away. This is not a blame game. Like I said, everybody's situation is different. Every situation is different. But sometimes, as a mother, you have to see the brighter side. As a single mother, you have to think about what you're doing. You have to think about the people you're bringing into the lives of your children, whether it's men or women. You have to think of where you're sending your children, who's watching them, who's doing what to them. So you have to be very careful, because you don't have no backup. If you don't have family, maybe parents or siblings that are going to be there and be around to give you a hand, I'm sorry to say, it's only you and God. And many times that was what it was in my situation. But God always sent people around me to help me. At one point, I know it wasn't easy to raise a young man, and I look for mentors for my son, because it's very important for a boy to have a father figure in their lives. I look for mentors in the church that we were part of. I raised my children in a church. Yes, it wasn't easy. And there were situations that happened in that church that has hurt my children and hurt me as a mother. Because some people always tell themselves that they can say and do whatever they want to do in a church environment, especially when they know that you're a single mother with children. I've been there. But I'm gonna do a series on church. Don't worry, it's coming up. It's coming up. But single mothers and single dads, be encouraged today. It's not the end of the world. Get the help that you need. Do what you can do and leave the rest up to God. Pray. If you don't know how to pray, just prayer is just talking to God. Simple. And watch what He's going to do in your life for you and your children. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Be raising my children and concerned. Make decisions that I shouldn't have made. Have regrets. But there came a point in time in life when I have to ask my children to forgive me because of some of the stupid decisions I made. It's a healing process. And so I just want to encourage you to stay in the game. Fight for your children. Love your children. And fight for them. Okay? I love you, moms. I love you, dads. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about single motherhood. So I just want you to stay tuned. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, my family and friends. Bye for now.